Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Landis and this is maybe one day I will record something that isn't just a tag video, but today is not that day. I've been meaning to do the anti-TBR tag since October. It was created by Nicole and her books, who I'll link the original video below. That video was posted on September 30th. I saw it probably the next week. I have been meaning to post it, record it, post it since then. Today is January 22nd, and I'm just now recording it. The purpose of the anti-TBR book tag is to talk about books that you don't want to read and why. I should probably start by saying that most of these choices I'm about to make aren't controversial in my sphere of the online book community, which is mostly other LGBTQ+ or more specifically sapphic readers. However, in this sense of the larger overarching online book community, some of these might be a little blasphemous. In case you're new here, I am a lesbian. I primarily read and review books with lesbian or otherwise sapphic characters, or just queer books in general. I have consumed white cishet stories for the majority of my life. I'm 27 years old. When I was growing up, we didn't have all the awesome, diverse YA books and things that are at least slowly starting to be published by the big publishers. We didn't have that. Lesbians on TV and in movies other than the L Word, which I was definitely not allowed to watch because it came on when I was in middle school and high school. That's our cuckoo clock. It's my favorite thing. I'm obsessed with it. Not so good in the middle of a video. Anyway, growing up, there weren't movies, TV shows, books, anything, at least that I could find as a teenage lesbian in the Bible Belt. So I spent all of my life watching and reading and consuming white cishet stories in media because that's all that there was. I'm 27 years old and I'm not saying this to be edgy, I promise, I'm just being honest. I've just finally reached the point in my life where I'm not going to do it anymore. I'm not going to prioritize those kind of stories over things that I would rather be reading just because they're popular or hyped or taking over the internet. I'm just not going to do it anymore. Now that we've gotten all of that out of the way, let's get into it. The first question on the anti-TBR tag is a popular book that everyone loves that you have no interest in reading. I guess I should also say that the majority of the stuff that I see is through Bookstagram. That's my primary platform that I spend the most time on. And this book has been all over Bookstagram for months, even with some of my fellow queer Bookstagrammers. And it is From Blood and Ash by Jennifer L. Armentrout. I hope I said that right. I know a lot of people are obsessed with this one. It doesn't sound appealing to me. It is an MF fantasy romance. I've heard there's a lot of really explicit sex scenes. I'm sure the world building and everything else are great too, but it's just not, it's not for me. I didn't read for 8 years because I wasn't on ADHD medicine. I missed so many awesome queer and sapphic books that came out during that time period that I would just rather read instead. So, number 2, a classic book or author you have no interest in reading. Whew. It's taken me years to stop being embarrassed about this, and I'm still cringing a little bit admitting it on the internet with my face and my voice together, but I don't and I can't read classics, at least nothing written before 1900 or thereabouts. I've tried, it doesn't work. I guess it's because it's language that I'm not really used to, and so I read fairly quickly, and when I try to read a Jane Austen book or anything of that sort or that time period back when the language and the way that people spoke was really different. I end up having to read the same paragraph 3 or 4 times to even kind of understand what's going on, because I don't know how to make myself slow down and like process it. So I'm sure they're wonderful books. I'm not shitting on classics or anything like that. I just personally can't read them. I can do like The Bell Jar, Fahrenheit 451, 1984, like more recent classics, but back past 1900, it doesn't happen. So probably all of those. And sadly, Shakespeare, even though I tried really hard to get into Shakespeare. I do like Shakespeare retellings, which is something. Anyway, number 3 is kind of a two-parter. It says, an author whose books you have no interest in reading, or 3.2, a problematic author whose books you have no interest in reading. I'm just going to combine them. For me, this is Cassandra Clare. I feel like everyone I know either loves or loathes Cassandra Clare for various reasons. I'm not fully versed on all of the controversy surrounding her and her work, so I'm not going to try and recount it for you. But even before I knew she was like a problematic author TM, I wasn't really interested in any of her books. So finding out that she was problematic was no huge loss for me. Number 4, an author you have read a couple books from and have decided their books are not for you. This is a complicated one because my answer in October, when I started deciding what I wanted to use for this tag, was Sarah J. Maas. And I stand by that to a point, because I gave into the hype and read ACOTAR last year because it was a read now on NetGalley briefly. And so I was like, oh, I don't have to buy it. I might as well try it. I didn't love or hate it. I didn't understand the hype behind it. I wasn't like, oh, I need to go read the next book. However, I have a few close friends that really love the Throne of Glass series, and I promised them I would at least try. And then one of my fellow lesbian bookstagrammers, who is Little Miss Star 55, is hosting a Throne of Glass read-along this year that I am, at least in theory, participating in. And I say that because it started this month and we're reading The Assassin's Blade, and I have not opened the ebook even once. And again, it's January 22nd. So we'll see how that goes. I might jump in with them next month and just start with Throne of Glass itself, since I know this is like prequel stories or something. I'm gonna try, y'all. I don't have another answer for this because the answer really is Sarah J. Maas. I'm gonna give her one more book, and if I'm not there for it, I'm gonna move on. Sorry, Gabby and Nicole. Number 5 is a genre you have no interest in, or a genre you tried to get into and couldn't. I hate that my answer to this is nonfiction. I really hate it. I have bought so many nonfiction books over the years because I was genuinely interested in what they were about. I have never finished any of them other than a few like queer memoirs. I am a huge nerd. I love recreational research. I will fall into a Wikipedia rabbit hole or an online research rabbit hole about psychology, sociology, anything under the sun. But when I try to sit down and read a nonfiction book, it just doesn't happen. I am going to try some nonfiction audiobooks and see if that helps me get through them. So we will see. Number 6 is a book you have bought but will never read. Fangirl by Rainbow Rowell. I've had it for years, bought it 6, 7, 8 years ago, and I'm never gonna read it, am I? I'm just not. Number 7 is a series you have no interest in reading, or a series you started and have DNF'd. Started and DNF'd was ACOTAR. Maybe I'll go back to that eventually, probably not. But because I already talked about that, I decided to go with Serpent and Dove by Shelby Mahurin for this one. Apparently the author is a huge Sarah J. Maas fan, and several of the people I follow here and elsewhere have compared Serpent and Dove to Sarah J. Maas's work. So if I'm having to force myself to try Sarah J. Maas books as like a favor for friends, there's no way I'm gonna go out and buy other books with similar vibes intentionally for no good reason. And then finally, we have number 8, which is a new release you have no interest in reading. This was a new release at the time that I wrote this list. It's still technically a new release. Kingdom of the Wicked by Carrie Maniscalco. I don't know how to pronounce any of these people. Anyway, perhaps you're sensing a theme here, which is I don't read fantasy romance unless it's queer. Because I'm pretty sure that's another like YA fantasy romance. I don't buy into like the dark, broody dude situation. I'm not into dudes, even if they have tattoos and wings. I'm a lesbian. It's not for me. If this video pissed you off, you probably shouldn't subscribe to my channel. But I don't know. I mean, if you just want to diversify your reading more and hear about more queer books or books with neurodiverse rapper things, stick around. I'd love to have you. I'm planning some original, not book tag content that I'm going to record over the next couple weeks while I am on break in between school terms. If you've made it this far, go ahead and leave a book in the comments that you are never going to read or that you're not interested in reading, because I want to hear y'all's spicy takes. I hope I didn't come across as like an edgelord in this video where I'm like, oh, I don't like anything popular, because that is absolutely not true. It's not about the hype or me trying to be like cooler than you. I'm just sick of straight people, which I'm sure for a lot of you is a mood. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this content so you don't miss any of my upcoming videos, and I will see y'all next time. Bye.
Live like our favorite fairy tale.